Everybody's mics off, just for...
We are on.
A little too late to ask that.
Now that we're recording, you're right. Okay, this is the Common Council meeting to be held on Tuesday, October 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m. The meeting is called to order. Would you please call the roll?
Alderperson Collins.
Present.
Alderperson Bailey.
Present.
Alderperson Kastner.
Present.
Alderperson Akers.
Present.
Alderperson Sarian.
Present.
Item B is opening prayer. We have a very special guest this evening.
Dear God, we thank you for this. Pray that you keep your hand. Keep our first.
Amen. Item C is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please join me?
Thank you for putting up with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item D, I'd entertain a motion to approve the September 21st Common Council minutes.
So moved. Second.
Bailey, second by Alderperson Kastner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. E, under Mayor's Report, I just wanted to thank everybody that was at the Arbor Day celebration over the weekend at Elmdale School, my alma mater.
And mine.
Alderperson Collins
I wasn't.
and Bailey were there. Alderperson Sarian was at a wedding. And,
I was unable to make it.
Happens.
everyone
My-
else was
my-
excused. They all had very pressing family issues, but I want to
My
thank every guys.
daughter got engaged that night, and I was a witness to it.
That's pretty
Oh, that's
impressive.
Yeah, it was a very special moment.
I'm not sure legally though. If you're a witness to family,
I don't know
things,
what it
it's not a
is.
binding witness.
It's just odd that I was a
Not a
witness
legal witness,
to
is
an
it, Brian?
engagement, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're doing nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not a valid engagement if you witnessed it.
Just because of me, I
Oh,
understand
because you're a
that.
family member.
You're a family member. You have an interest in it. It has to be a disinterested third party.
The people at Bubbly were, or Giggles, or whatever.
All
it
right,
is.
I guess maybe it's probably good enough. I want to thank everybody for that. The budget's coming up pretty soon here. It's being presented at the Finance Committee meeting. I think we have it together this year. It's a very challenging year. I just want everybody to understand that. It should be released if everything goes well, as it typically does in the middle of November, right before deer hunting. Aldermanic reports, are there any this evening? Alderperson Bailey?
Thank you, Mayor and Heisky. I just wanted to give the council and yourself an update on the tree commission. We had a lot of things going on at the farmer's market. We had a booth. Our city forester, Dennis Firmanek, was there. We had face painting going on. You could have your face painted with birds or butterflies.
Trees?
They had, because it was, let me check, World Migratory Bird Day. And so they had a person from the Milwaukee County Zoo. They had 3 folks from the Wild Birds Unlimited who thought it was a great event. And also the Pollinator Committee was there to hand out prizes and raffles because it's sort of under the umbrella of Bird City and Bee City. So they also gave away some birdhouses too.
Fantastic. I guess as the season's wrapping up, I just want to thank everybody that put on folks in the health department and all the departments. Our farmers market, everywhere I go, everyone says it's a really great farmers market.
It really is.
When you talk to the vendors, they say it's in the top 3 in this part of the state, southeast Wisconsin, which is something to be proud of. Thank you guys all for supporting that. I want to thank Renee and everybody in Jeff's department upstairs. The Pollinator Program, Tree City, Monarch City, Bird City, all those cities that we're now doing, people are really taking and running with it, which is a cool thing. And we do it so cost effectively, but we wouldn't be able to do it all without your guys' support for all of that stuff, right?
I have to say, the person that we hired, I think she's newer, for the farmer's market. She's really brought some original things because not, during the month, there's like 2 or 3 things that happen. And really neat, and
Yeah.
people have been really enjoying it because I've been volunteering at it. It's fantastic.
That's awesome. I want to thank everybody in our Parks Department. Despite the pandemic and despite all the things that happened, we still had good attendance this summer for most of our events. Much better than some of the other communities that I was talking with, which is a good thing. Wanted to point out that Kowicki Park, that when we took that over, you guys graciously allowed us to take over the maintenance and operation of the park. The roof is done, the furnace is done, the playground's done, the creek is getting grant money to get fixed up and expanded. The forestry and the arbor stuff that we've been doing over there has been great. The path is in. The Ridge Church has given us their contribution to the path. You'll remember that. That was like 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 years ago. I don't remember how long ago that was. So we managed to get a lot of good stuff done this year.
Can I also say that I'm hearing a lot of people are looking forward to the Cruisin' with Santa again this year.
They are.
I've heard that too.
They are very much looking forward to that. I mean, I think last year it made a huge difference. I mean, I know somebody for a fact that their husband was in the hospital dying, and they had no idea this was happening, and that came down her street and just kind of brightened up her day.
I just want to point out one thing. There's one person in the city who's probably the crabbiest person in the city who gave me a call after the Santa Claus went through their neighborhood, and I was expecting to just get blasted.
Music was too loud.
Something. It was too loud. What are you doing? Why you spent? And it was about 10 or 15 minutes worth of that was the nicest thing the city's ever done. I'm so happy to live here. So I want to thank Kent and Scott and everyone that's up there for doing that. That's kind of when your job is like, wow, that was cool. That wasn't right.
It really made, I think, a huge impact on everybody who saw it. I mean,
Do you remember what it was like? Everybody remember what it was like last year about this time?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't all that pleasant, was it?
Oh.
still not all that pleasant, but
It seems to be a little bit more pleasant than it was last year this time. There's a little bit more normalcy. And according to the New York Times, the infection rates are dropping precipitously by 35% over last week, not only in the United States but worldwide. So, I don't know. Just thanks. I think next year is going to be.
Government's doing our best to try and reverse that, but that's okay.
Who is?
The
Oh,
government.
just that's. I just kind of think it's going to be here forever, right? I think we get flu shots every year, and I think we probably, in the future, get COVID shots every year. And if you take them or you don't take them, that's sort of your choice. Don't know. I don't think anyone really knows, because the goals seem to be changing constantly.
the moving target.
But that's another story, right? All right. We're just here to provide for the health and public safety of our community in the best way we can, and I think we do a really good job at that. And I think our staff does a really good job at that. All right. Announcements, I don't have any right now. Does anybody have anything? Citizen commentary, there's absolutely no one here this evening. Item I, old business. I don't have an appointment to the Board of Public Works. If someone has one, it's a council appointment, but if
I've heard someone that's interested.
people always get interested and then they don't want to do it, right? Because it's
He's very interested.
okay.
Very.
Pass the person along. Mayor appointments confirmed by council. I need a Board of Health member and a Tree Commission member. There are a number of people that are interested in the alternate member to the Planning Commission. I should be bringing something forward in the future. J, new business. Item J1 is an application for operator license received from Katie Margaret Newbury. Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Alderperson Akers, second by Collins. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Item J2 is discussion decision to enter an agreement with Milwaukee County Register of Deeds to have the city's recorded documents returned in electronic format. Jennifer's here if you have any questions. This is the wave of the future. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderperson Akers, or second?
Second.
Second by Alderperson Sarian. Can you call?
Alderperson Collins.
Aye.
Alderperson Bailey.
Aye.
Alderperson Kastner.
Aye.
Alderperson Akers.
Aye.
Alderperson Sarian.
Aye.
Item 3A and 4 are changes of agents. One for Portillo's and the other one for Mega Marts. I entertain a motion to approve those changes.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Alderperson Collins, there's a second.
Second.
Second by Alderperson Akers, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. That was for 3 and 4. Item 5 is regulation of electronic scooters. This is from the Legislative Committee. This is to ban them, right, in the city?
Right,
The-
effectively, just very briefly,
Yes.
it prohibits the operation of a rental company here within the city. If they would, if the units would come in from, say Milwaukee, if they stay longer than 24 hours, then we would have the ability to confiscate them under the ordinance. As it relates to private scooters, ones that any of you might own, for example, you can operate them, but only on streets that have speed limits of 25 miles an hour or less.
And you can't operate them on sidewalks.
Correct.
Because they're motorized, right?
Right,
They're motorized
just like you're not
vehicles.
supposed to ride a bike on a sidewalk either, correct?
No, you can do that.
You
We-
can? I thought you could
We
not.
allowed that for children
Okay.
several years back.
So this ordinance is being adopted by other communities?
Yes, the companies that are doing this in particular, I think it's Bird, is really pushing to expand into other communities. And so I think just about every Milwaukee County municipality either has or will be in the near future considering this type of proposal.
Potentially at some point in time, and this may be something that would be more viable, and we can reverse our ruling.
Could be,
I mean, if
but
Loomis and 84 South and those kind of
Yeah, I mean,
communities could be a good spot for something like
I
that.
think we have to wait and see what happens in the city of Milwaukee. I've been talking to somebody who says that they're constantly dredging them out of the river and that they're found everywhere, right?
yep, they're found
Um,
everywhere.
and
That
they're-
I've heard.
And people are driving them on sidewalks and
Mm-hmm.
places that they're not supposed to, and, I think Alderperson Kastner is right, we just need to see where it's going and how it stabilizes.
I
I'm
agree.
not necessarily against them,
Exactly my thought.
but
It's-
Electric bikes can go faster than 25 too.
Oh,
they can.
They can go 28 usually to 30.
Yeah. I mean, you think about, and I'm not, so Layton Avenue is 35 or 45, right?
It's
35.
35.
Yeah, but, it has a bike lane, right, but it also has sidewalks.
It doesn't
So if
really
somebody's
have
gonna
a
use a
bike lane.
scooter, they're
Layton
gonna-
doesn't have a bike lane.
Couldn't operate it on Layton, right? I don't know about pedestrian paths, like the Power Line Trail. Could somebody get on a scooter and go from 43rd Street all the way to 105th Street on a scooter? Probably not.
No.
Only for pedestrians and bicycles, right?
yeah,
No motorized vehicles.
right, right.
Doesn't make any difference to me, one way or the other. I think people that are in Milwaukee that have these things are gonna be dropping them off on Forest Home and 27th Street and all over the place, but it'd be nice to be able to have the ordinance to be able to go and pick them up if they're there for more than a day or two, right?
24 hours.
Right.
It's up to you guys. Are we done?
I move for approval.
Motion by Alderperson
I'll
Zarin,
second.
Second by Alderperson Collins. Any further discussion? Could you,
This is approval of the ordinance to ban them and
That's
I mean, ban-
word.
not
well,
ban,
actually,
but-
this
but
is,
not
Ban the
allow them
sale.
to, yeah,
Is
not
there an
rent-
ordinance?
banning the rental.
Yes.
Right,
is there an ordinance
There is, yes.
attached to 5?
Yeah,
yes,
So it'd be the creation, adopting the ordinance regulating
electric scooters, it
electric
says.
scooters, consistent with what the city attorney just described. So that was the motion, right? Could you call?
Alderperson Collins?
aye.
Alderperson Bailey?
Aye.
Alderperson Kastner?
Aye.
Alderperson Akers?
Aye.
Alderperson Sarian?
Aye.
Just quickly, we don't, legislative hasn't been meeting a lot because we don't,
Oh,
because,
it
which
was
is
my
good.
first
'Cause we don't-
meeting.
We're not creating a lot of ordinances, right? But
Right.
when things come out of legislative committee, they should probably be in the form of an ordinance for adoption, right?
Okay.
It was?
It should just,
Oh, it's
as,
written?
huh?
On the agenda.
It should be worded in a way that,
Gotcha.
ordinance, creating section, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
just so there isn't, I think this is sufficient notice on the agenda, but that's what this is. Okay. We voted on that, right? Yeah. Okay, item 6. An ordinance amending sections 10.31 and 10.32 of the municipal code of the city of Greenfield as it relates to sexual or sex offender loitering and residency restrictions, and creating sections 1.35 to create the Sex Offender Residency Appeal Board. I'd entertain a motion to approve first, and then
I'll make a motion to approve that.
And I
Motion
will
by Alderperson
second.
Bailey, second by Alderperson Collins. Mr. City Attorney, can you explain what this is in a nutshell?
Sure, this is a set of regulations that are designed to address some case law that has come forward that called into question our ability to regulate in the way that we were. As it relates specifically to Greenfield, the primary concern is that the courts frequently talk about what's known as a individualized risk assessment, and we didn't have that. The courts seem to be looking for that, and so we create that with the appeal board. Beyond that, the only other significant change that we did here is that we created a provision that relates to Chapter 980 offenders, which are the sexually violent predators. The state, when they were having difficulty placing some of those individuals, created a state law that applies to them. The rules are slightly different than they are for the regular offenders in our case, but we adopted it basically just to give us the ability to have a say if there was going to be a question about where somebody was going to live. We've had a couple communities, not we, but colleagues in other communities have indicated that where they didn't have this type of code provision and the state came in and said, we're going to place them here, that the court basically told them, nope, you don't have standing because you don't have any regulations that apply here. And so this hopefully will give us some standing to object if we ever find ourselves in that position. So those are the primary goals of what's here. We did not change the distance. We talked about it a little bit at legislative committee, and ultimately we didn't bring anything forward specifically with respect to that, primarily because there is a case pending with a Racine County community that the sole issue is the distance question, and so we didn't want to necessarily make a change to the distance in light of the fact that our distance is probably pretty good when you look at the map overall. It's a pretty good mixture of where you are and aren't allowed to be. And so we figured if there's going to be a change following this case, if it goes to litigation and there's a decision, that we didn't want to be coming back a bunch of times. So we're just going to keep monitoring, and if we feel that we need to change that distance, we'd bring that forward at a different point.
Motion's been made and seconded. Do you have a question, Alderperson Bailey?
Yeah, we did talk about this at legislative, and maybe our city attorney can, again, we'll be setting up a new board, a sex offender residency appeal board. And we'll be searching for 3 members, right, Brian? Right. To sit on this board, and we're anticipating they would be reviewing maybe as many as 2 to 3 cases a year. And
Right.
right?
Or just meeting like two.
Just a quick question. Who
Or meeting
appoints the
2 or 3
people?
times a year.
The appointment, as with most boards and commissions, would be the mayor, but obviously, just as we've heard this evening, the mayor is always, I think, happy to have suggestions, so.
Okay, motion was made and seconded. Would you please call?
Alderperson Collins?
Aye.
Alderperson Bailey?
Aye.
Alderperson Kastner?
Aye.
Alderperson Akers?
Aye.
Alderperson Sarian?
Aye.
Item 7 is discussion decision to revise the job descriptions for the positions of Deputy City Clerk and Administrative Assistant in the Clerk's Office. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So
Of course, our
moved.
clerk is here if you have any questions. Motion by Alderperson Akers.
I will second.
Second by Alderperson Collins.
So this is just half of what we were going to talk about at finance?
Yes, it would
Okay,
have been
thank
what
you.
we would have discussed at finance.
We'll still talk about that one later?
Oh,
it's not.
There's a second part to it with regard to the salary that will be at a future finance meeting, and this is just to change the job
Got you.
description.
That's my question. Thank you.
To him.
Motion by Akers, second by Collins. Would you please call?
Alderperson Collins?
Aye.
Alderperson Bailey?
Aye.
Alderperson Kastner?
Aye.
Alderperson Akers?
Aye.
Alderperson Sarian?
Aye.
Item 8, discussion decision to revise the job description of lieutenant in the fire department. Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderperson Kastner.
And I will second that.
Alderperson Collins. Would you please call?
Alderperson Collins?
Aye.
Alderperson Bailey?
Aye.
Alderperson Kastner?
Aye.
Alderperson Akers?
Aye.
Alderperson Sarian?
Aye.
Items 9 and 10 are the annual decisions with regard to special assessment rates and stormwater utility rates. Mr. Katz is here to, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve. It's just going up the standard amount.
Motion by Alderperson Kastner. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Alderperson Bailey. Would you please call?
Just a quick comment on that. This is, we do this every year, and it goes by the rate of inflation.
CPI, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then call.
Yeah, would you call?
Alderperson Collins?
Aye.
Alderperson Bailey?
Aye.
Alderperson Kastner?
Aye.
Alderperson Akers?
Aye.
Alderperson Sarian?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Entertain a motion to, wait a second. Item 11 is authorizing resolution for a grant to fund urban and community forestry. We need to do this
Approve it.
for grants.
I'll
And entertain a
make-
motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
By Alderperson Akers, second by
I'll
Collins. Was
second.
that? Would you please call?
Alderperson Collins?
Aye.
Alderperson Bailey?
Aye.
Alderperson
Aye.
Kastner? Alderperson Akers?
Aye.
Alderperson Sarian?
Aye.
Motion carries. Items 12, 13, and 14 are the typical finance things for schedules of disbursements, reimbursements, and investments and reinvestments. Entertain a motion to approve 12,
I'll
13.
make a motion.
By
Second.
Alderperson Collins, second by Alderperson Bailey. Would you call?
Alderperson Collins?
Aye.
Alderperson Bailey?
Aye.
Alderperson Kastner?
Aye.
Alderperson Akers?
Aye.
Alderperson Sarian?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item K, future agenda, it's the budget. That's pretty much it till the end of the year. That's the big one.
And when does the final budget
The
come
final
up?
hearing will be in the middle of November. I think
Middle
it's
of
the
November?
15, 16, 17, something like that.
Okay.
The budget itself is being presented, I believe, next Wednesday,
Yeah, and I won't,
I think, the 13th.
I won't be here.
Is it the 13th? Is that right?
Thursday, right?
Wednesday, would be a Wednesday. Next
Okay,
Wednesday.
I'm
13th
sorry.
is Wednesday.
13th?
Wednesday is the 13th.
Okay.
That's what I think it is, the
Okay.
13th, whatever that is. So I would encourage, if you run into any of our again, I want to just say this, for the record, if you run into any of our legislators, senators, anybody that's higher up, the issue that we have is that our levy limit is set by net new construction, right? How much net new construction there is in the city. Over the last few years, we haven't had a problem because that net new construction is generally over 2%, right? Which means that you can raise your levy by about that amount, and that's about how much you need to pay for increases in health insurance and wages, okay? This year, we were allowed to raise the levy 0.83, 4, or 5%, which isn't enough to pay for those expenditures. And then you throw capital equipment in, which are police cars, which we need, and invest for our
DPW.
police officers, and new firearms, which are scheduled to be replaced, and all of those kinds of things. We can't raise enough money to pay for those things unless we cut something that we have. And as you know, the board of directors for the city, we don't waste money here, right? But then there's this other thing, we have this expenditure restraint program, right? Which would allow us to raise by a certain percentage based on the CPI, like our stormwater rates or our special assessment rates, which seems to be a reasonable amount of money to be able to raise, right? If you have those expenditure increases, right? The levy limit doesn't have any touch or connection to the CPI or the expenditure restraint program. What the expenditure restraint program allows us to do is actually raise our expenditures pretty significantly to cover the expenses that we'd have. The problem is the levy limit prevents us from raising that revenue. So on the one hand, they're saying, yeah, this is how much it should cost you more every year. and don't go above that amount. But we're not gonna let you raise your levy, which is the total amount of taxes that we collect every year, to cover that cost. That's a huge problem. And nobody wants to deal with the funding formula. The simple solution is to have levy limits go up every year, consistent with something like an ERP formula. That way, everybody's can't just spend money like a, like a drunken sailor, right? So there's a semblance of reality and fiscal prudence, right? And it allows us to carefully navigate the arena of public services that we all need to provide for our constituents. And if you do talk to our legislators and senators, make sure you let them know that of all the things that people touch, their constituents touch, most of those touches in government come from the local level, right? If somebody breaks into your house, the police are coming. If somebody has a heart attack, the paramedics are coming. If you need to get to work in the morning and you need the streets plowed by a certain time, those are those folks, right? We're the ones that do everything that most people touch government with. Is that the right way to say that?
And we take
So,
all the money and give it to
but we're
everybody.
being placed in a position, and there was an interesting article, and Alderperson Castor and I got in a debate about this. And I just need to say, because this is a future item for discussion, we wouldn't be discussing it now, would we, Brian?
That's right.
Because that would, there's all these people that say defund the police, right? On one side of the political spectrum. And I'm not in favor of that, and I don't think anybody up here is in favor of that.
No.
Maybe they are, I don't know, we haven't voted on it. But the other side of the political spectrum is essentially defunding the police by creating levy limits that don't that don't allow us to pay for those officers, right? There was the interesting story, I think it was 400, I shouldn't say how many, a number of municipalities throughout the state, whether they're county, local, are reducing the expenditures to law enforcement because they can't raise the revenue. That's a problem. I was talking to somebody today about an adjacent, very large community next to us. They're down 200 officers. They're going to be down another 100 officers. And some people say, well, just hire 200 officers. Can't hire 200 officers if you can't raise taxes or something. And I'm not trying to defend anything that goes on over there because I'm glad I'm not in charge of that. But that's a problem, and that's a problem that impacts us when potential lack of law and order or lack of whatever you want to call it starts migrating, right?
It already does migrate.
It's just, there's got to be some sense of, I think everyone sort of
You
agrees.
do realize that the lack of 200 officers isn't 100% due because of the budgetary restraints. It's because of the rhetoric of everyone not wanting to fund the police department, and no one wants to.
No, this is
go down
200
that road.
before that. This is 200 down before that.
Okay.
200. The levy that the city of Milwaukee collects,
You didn't say that city name, did you?
I did,
200
well,
kinda nails it down.
I'll just use this as an example. The entire levy of the city of Milwaukee, the entire tax levy of the city of Milwaukee is less than the police department's budget in the city of Milwaukee. And that's with 200 officers down. Think about that for a minute. So the reason that they're charging for light poles and this and that, right, is revenue. Now, does that mean their pension, and does that mean all this and all that, and union, I mean, I don't know about that stuff. But it's a problem that has an impact on the neighbors, the fiscally prudent neighbors that surround it.
Capitol Police are pretty well funded.
Yeah, they sure are. But anyways, so it's just, all I'm asking is that the levy, I don't keep the levy limit, just have it go up by the ERP rate, which is a reasonable formula that the state already uses. And I think everyone else would be really kind of happy about that, except Franklin and Oak Creek, which are, I think, the only two major communities in Milwaukee County that have over 2%. One of our communities can only raise its taxes, I think it's less than $10,000 next year.
Oh, my God.
I think it's actually 6,000 or 8,000 they can raise their taxes. There's another one that's even, I don't know, they might have to pay being facetious. So that being said, it's at 7:31, I entertain a motion to adjourn
So moved.
by Akers. Second by Alderperson Bailey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We are now